Hello my little stars and welcome back to this game. So, 5 likes on this video and I will get you the lost ending. 10 likes on this video and I will drop it tomorrow whenever this video actually drops. So, that being said, I do suggest you go back and watch part 1 and 2 because otherwise the stuff I say may sound very confusing or be spoilerish, because I will be referring back to what I saw in ending 1 and 2 throughout this playthrough, probably, most likely. So, without further ado, let's go join suspicious Nelli once more. She is so sus. Let's begin. Nelli's throat stung as she gulped the cold on air. Her arms were shaking, the muscles ached so much that she struggled to grasp the handles. The haggard squeaks from the wheels of her bike tore through the silence that permeated the dark forest. Not just any forest, either, which is slightly frustrating. But that also technically means... No, I should not say that for now. I'll put a pin in that for later. But as you can see, it is definitely not silent. And it definitely doesn't look very dark. She choked her breath around the small flashlight clenched between her teeth. The light was modest, only illuminating a small patch of the road directly in front of her bike. She needed to hurry. The sun was already starting to rise. It was okay. There was only 3 left. 3 left? Ha! Goodness knows what it is, because the problem here is, if it was, say, newspapers, I guess that would make sense why she'd have done a bike, before the dawn. You'd be delivering newspapers, right? But it can't be newspapers. Because why would Nelli care if someone looked in the bag if it was newspapers? And on top of that, Nelli's behaviour about this bag is, she doesn't want anyone else looking in. She puts it in the freaking freezer. But then she doesn't check the bag when she falls. So, what is in the bag that she doesn't want anybody else to see, but she doesn't care if it gets broken or damaged? And that she just happens to put it in the freezer, either to hide it. I don't know. Why would you put it in the freezer? Nelli is sussy. Why am I playing such a sussy character? And don't get me started on her ex-boyfriend, who is really cute. I love his design. Can I please be him? Nelli drove her heel down, paddling with renewed vigour. She raced up from the seat, leaning over the handles of the bike as she frantically turned the pedals, going faster and faster and faster. Until that happened. Does that sound like a snap to you? That didn't sound like a snap to me. Terror ripped through Nelli. She was flung over the handles of her bike. She instinctively covered her face with her arms before she hit the ground. Her shoulder smacked against the concrete, and a jolt of pain tore through the right side of it. So again, pay close attention to what side Nelli landed on and what she landed on. She landed on concrete, and she landed on her right side. On her right side. But it was still on concrete. Where did the dirt come in? Where was the dirt if she landed on concrete? I understand the twigs could come from above, where the branches are over the road, but where did the dirt come from? Was Nelli on the side of the road? Wouldn't you then have said she fell onto the grass? But no, she fell straight over onto the concrete. I wouldn't keep bringing this stuff up if it didn't keep bugging me, which it is. For a moment she lay on the road, trying to steady her shaky breath, as throbbing pain subsided into a dull ache. As soon as her head stopped spinning, she forced herself up on her elbows. She rotated her shoulder. It still hurt, but she could move it without any issues. Her knees and arms stung too. At first she was going to check them for injury, but then stopped herself because there was something more important. She got up on her knees and looked around, squinting in time to pierce the murkiness of the early dawn. Heart pounding, she pawed the ground all around her. She found it, and then she breathed a sigh of relief. The yellow bag that had fallen off to the side. She pulled it close and examined it carefully. The zipper was shut tight. Everything was still inside. Then she slung the bag over her shoulder. What's my problem with this part is simple. 1. Why didn't Nelli not open the bag to make sure the contents were okay? If it was a camera, then she would have opened the bag to check. So that checks out my camera theory. Because 100% sure she would have opened it for that. But at some point as well, according to ending B, the flashlight was in the bag. So when did Nelli put it in? Now apparently there's a magic flashlight that apparently disappears and reappears at random. Great. But she cares about the bag. She's glad that it didn't open, but she doesn't want anybody to see inside this thing. And we also know it's not waterproof, so why put it in the freezer? Anyway, let's continue. And then, of course, she went ahead and retrieved the fallen flashlight before turning attention to her bike. It had collapsed on its side, wheels still spinning. The chain had come undone, draped on the ground like a dead snake. She picked up the chain, and it was strangely slack. So by here, I am going to point out one thing that crossed my mind after I watched ending 1 and 2, was what happened with the bike? Did the bike break because Nelli was speeding down the road so fast? Or did somebody at some point when Nelli got off of her bike to do whatever she was doing, wherever she came from, did someone tamper with her bike in hopes that she would have an accident at some point? Because if we all remember, if you've watched part 1 and 2, we know that her best friend apparently disappeared for 3 months, then was found a week later after having a freaking hiking accident, even though she lived locally. I swear, if it comes about now that Sana actually is a very outdoorsy person, and is very skilled at hiking, I'm going to 100% say I was blooming right. There's a frickety dickety doody freaking murder out here somewhere. But I am curious, is this trying to imply that Nelli broke the bike because of her vigorous pedaling, or did someone come along and try to tamper with her bike? Because it seems oddly strange that we are specifically zooming in on the fact that it's slack. How fragile are bike chains? Because I know that when I've fallen off my bike chain is pretty sturdy. So what happened here? How did it literally come loose off of it? Would that have meant somebody tampered with it? Anybody that's does biking and stuff and actually knows this stuff, would you say that is probably somebody had tampered with it? Because Nelli, we also are fully aware that Nelli wasn't actively using her bike anyway. So why was the bike managed to get in this state if she barely uses it? Was it because maybe it was old? I'm just curious. I just had to ask all these questions because what if this was an attempted murder by someone else? I do not think that her ex-boyfriend had anything to do with this, because Raku just continuously makes me feel that he would rather himself get hurt than her, especially after ending B. I believe it's ending B. Ending A or B. One of those endings. The last ending we had. That, his behavior suggests that, he's not going to hurt Nelli. He's fine with going after anybody else, but Nelli is the one that he prioritizes. So, yeah, there's that. So I don't think it's him. But let's continue. Was it sabotage or just clumsiness?
Nelli.
And then there's him. She looked up. Cold tingles ran down her neck and through her spine, sending a chill running all the way to her fingers and toes. Raku was standing over her. Raku Komoide. Now, why was he there at the forest at that time? We know that he has an apartment or a home or something because Nelli did go to his place and spend time there with him. Because she does say on his bed. So she has gone to his home. So he does have somewhere he lives. So, why was he out here? Does he live nearby? He must. because Nelli and him were going somewhere on the road, weren't they, with the bike. So she does live nearby. We know that for a fact from ending 1. She does. So that means he must live nearby somewhere. So what exactly was he doing out in the woods? Because I really don't think he was out here walking because of all the caffeine. I really don't think that was why. I don't know if maybe he was watching what was going on, or if maybe he heard the rumors about her going to see Ji-hoon and then decided to wait here to see if she comes along this road at some point. Because we definitely know in the last ending there was a lot of webs, meaning he was busy. Now, was he out here hunting? Was he out here waiting? I don't know. And then, of course, there's still the whole thing with Nelli's freaking coat changing from a raincoat to a goddamn jacket. Where'd the raincoat go? And how did the flashlight get in the bag? Inconsistencies that are slightly bothering me. Alright. Since I can't really explain what exactly he was doing here, I'm going to have to take what he says, as, yeah, because I can't prove otherwise. Her ex-boyfriend. The tall young man peered down at her with curious, icy eyes from under the fringe of his black-dyed hair. So the fact that he had the icy eyes in ending 1, we saw there was a little spider in her bedroom on the wall that was looking at her with oddly icy eyes, just like him. And then in ending 2 that we got, she ran into the forest and then found all the webs. So I'm under the great strongest impression that he is a spider. But is he really tiny? Because the problem now comes when we saw the webs. They were huge. Those were really big webs. So now I'm like, how big is he when he transforms? We know he can turn into a small spider because he came into Nelli's room in ending 1. But how big is he really? And does he eat people? My biggest question, does he eat people? I don't think it's going to hurt Nelli. Ending 2 made it clear. Ending A, B, whatever, made it 100% clear. He will get rid of everything else before letting anything happen to Nelli. But again, slightly frustrated because in that ending, I still didn't get to find out what was in the wretched yellow bag. Frustrating. I'm so angry. Okay, here's hoping. What was he doing here? How could he be here? Right now, this exact moment, right when she would have done anything to avoid seeing him. She, technically, in his fairness, he probably heard the clatter bang. I mean, it was pretty loud, to be fair. And how he got there? He probably just did what he did last time, teleporting. I don't think he teleported, I just think he's fast enough to get there. It doesn't explain how he ended up in front of her so quickly. But I'm starting to think he probably went overhead. Spiders can be faster than you expect.
What are you doing here?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. That's the thing. I think she's been somewhere and she's been sussy. And because I don't know the exact date, I can't say that, she most likely was at Ji-hoon's place and just came back from there. But then why was she running so fast? Did she see a murder or something? What happened? And then there's this whole thing about there's only 3 left and it can't be 3 newspapers. It can't be 3 turns. And then there's her being worried about the bike being found. Anyway, ignore me and my rants. I'm going for a bike ride, as one does before the crack of dawn.
I went for an early morning bike ride.
Very early, right before the dawn.
Really?
Yes, don't question it. It was still a little too dark to clearly see his face, but Nelli could hear the skepticism in his voice. It made sense. During the years they had dated, Nelli never used her bike for anything other than her daily 20-minute commute on the occasional shopping trip. Voluntary exercise was torture for her. So this confirms that 1, Nelli doesn't like doing exercise. 2, Nellie only used her bike for like 20 minutes. Or for an occasional shopping trip, meaning this bike is rarely ever used. But it still gets her from point A to B. So how does a one little whoopsie-poopsie on the freaking road result in her chain literally going lit? Did she hit it at certain angles for it to come off? Because I would think that the pedals would also stop it hitting the chain. So even like when it went down onto the road, the chain wouldn't have got hit straight away. Unless there was a rock or something for it to hit onto, for it to get caught onto. Otherwise, how did it break? Did somebody literally tamper with this damn thing? It's a bike chain.
I'm trying to be healthier.
Oh, that's good. Me too. I was out for a walk myself. Drank too many energy drinks to power through the night, so I'm trying to burn off some of the caffeine.
I can take a well-accepted explanation. His voice trailed off.
Anyway, are you alright? Fell off your bike?
I really think somebody probably tampered with it now. He extended a hand. She didn't take it. She stood up and slung the bag around her shoulder again, ignoring the mud and twigs stuck to her raincoat. See, and then there's the mud and twigs. She fell onto concrete. Where did the mud come from? It wasn't even raining yet. Oh, why was it mud? Oh no, that means it was wet already. Nelly did something. Because it should have been she got dirt and twigs. Why does it say mud? Mud is what happens when dirt gets wet. Why was it wet? Oh. Nelly, why? Why are you so sussy? Raku smiled awkwardly and retracted the hand before kneeling by her bike.
Your chain.
Third time and I still laugh.
It's broken.
Yeah, but how?
What?
She sounds surprised as well. I thought it was because like she's like, oh, I didn't realize it was broken. Or it's a simple thought that it's broken. She thought it was just loose then. And it was easy to fix. But no, somebody had... Does that confirm someone tampered with it? Rika picked up the broken ends of the chain and waved them around. Yeah, the broken ends of the chain. So somebody broke it? Like somebody had tampered with it so that when she used enough force that it would go flying? Are you trying to imply someone attempted to kill Nelly? The fudge? Maybe it's nothing.
Don't think you'll be able to ride it for a while, unfortunately.
I still don't think he would have done anything to tamper with her bike, because why would he think she'd be out on the bike anyway? He clearly was surprised and she rarely ever used the damn thing. And also, why would he want Nelly to hurt herself?
You're heading home, right? Me too. I'll walk with you.
So where were you, though? I know you went for a walk, but where exactly were you walking out here? Were you just practicing your webbing? Then again, spiders still hunt on webs, so stuff like that, you know. Nellie's voice caught in her throat. She tried to think of some excuse, anything she could blurt out to make him go away, but she couldn't think of anything. Fair enough. His face softened with a melodical expression.
We don't have to talk.
Don't worry, this time I will probably talk to you.
I just don't want to leave you alone out here. Not after what happened to Sana.
I really do think this is all connected to Sana in some shape or form. Because everything seems to keep coming back to it. They bring up Sana later, her reaction to it. And also this weird behaviour where she was dating him for a year and a bit. And during the time that they were together, Sana then disappeared for 3 months and then showed up a week later, you know. And then apparently just like so many weeks after, she suddenly broke up with him. Like she wanted to keep him at a distance. She wanted him to not get involved, to not get attached to her because she knew how much he loves her. So she was kind of pushing him away. Without giving him a good enough excuse. But, you know, you do what you gotta do, you know, to protect the ones you love, but still. Nelli bit her lip. Sana, her roommate, and her best friend since middle school had vanished 3 months ago. Remember, she was still dating Raku at the time. They'd been dating for a year. A week later, her body was found at the bottom of a cliff in this very forest, mangled beyond recognition. In a forest that she personally knew because she and Nelli both live locally. They would have gone through these forests, you know, literally done all this stuff, and yet... Mangled beyond recognition. But why was she mangled, though? Falling off a cliff. Unless there's, like, I don't know, some really messed up stuff at the bottom of that cliff, you'd still be able to tell. Mangled, though. Did she... It makes it sound like she fell down stairs or something. A tragic hiking accident. Why was she even hiking alone, then? Alright. She tried to rack her brain for an excuse, but she had no good reason to say no. Raku extended a hand.
Want me to carry the bag for you?
No.
Exactly. Nelli jerked away. Again, she didn't check to see if the contents were in one piece inside the bag, but she still doesn't want him, like, touching the bag. So there's something about if he touches the bag, he'll be able to tell what it is. But of course, she was not against using it as a makeshift weapon in the second ending to batter him away with it. I'm so... What is in the bag? She jerked away. It's heavy.
It's heavy. I don't want to bother you with it.
Okay. He didn't respond. Instead, he placed both hands on the bike handles and started to walk it down the road. You know... To Nelli's relief, Raku stayed true to his word. Normally, he was quite talkative, rambling to her about whatever nerdy hobby captured him that week. Now, he didn't say a word. In fact, he was barely looking at her. He just continued walking, only casting an occasional glance at Nelli to make sure he was walking at her pace. When she was certain that he wasn't looking, Nelli peeked at her ex-boyfriend out of the corner of her eye. The circles in his eyes were as dark as ever, permanently tattooed reminders of his horrific sleeping habits. They stood out darkly against the anemic pallor of his skin. Other students at their university used copious amounts of caffeine to fuel last-minute homework assignments or late-night cram sessions, but Nelli knew better. Raku had definitely stayed up all night reading the skills in the latest editions of, his online game. He conscripted her on a few occasions, giving her precise instruction on what buttons to press while he ran to the bathroom, confirming, they'd spent a lot of time together. There probably should have been bitter memories, but strangely enough, Nelli didn't hate those evenings. She would lay on his bed, planting turnips and petting cows on a handheld console, and every once in a while he would turn to her and grumble about a lackadaisy teammate or celebrate a particularly close call. She wondered if his raids went well. He had complained about terrible drops for the past 2 months. Did he finally get the item that he wanted? Something hit her face. She reached up and wiped the raindrops trickling down her forehead, but as soon as she did that, another droplet hit her face, and then another and another. Soon a torrent of rain was assaulting them, and Nelli drew her hood over her head, guarded from the onslaught by her raincoat. Raku wasn't nearly so lucky.
Over there!
He grabbed her hand, ushering her to an old bus stop at the side of a road. When they entered, Raku wheeled the bike inside, leaning it against the back wall. Okay.
Lucky. Glad this was here.
He wiped his face with his sleeve and ran a hand through his hair, flicking some of the water out.
You were even luckier, though.
Yeah, conveniently she was wearing something that the weather didn't tell her to wear.
What do you mean?
He pointed at her coat.
I'm surprised you thought to wear a raincoat. The rain wasn't anywhere on the weather forecast this morning.
Exactly.
It was kind of humid, so...
That's what they all say, Nelli. Raku seemed to accept that explanation. He leaned the bike to the side and looked around the inside the bus stop.
I wonder if the buses still come to this stop. There's no sign.
He took his phone out of his pocket of his jeans and wiped it on his sweatshirt before thumbling through the Maps app.
No reception. Can't load anything.
He squinted at the stormy grey sky.
Maybe it'll stop soon. No choice but to wait.
Wonderful. He plopped himself on the bench, crossing his legs and leaning his elbow on his knee. Nelli chewed her thumb, glaring at the raindrops falling all around them. Should she leave? But if she did that, he might be suspicious, not that he's not already. And she couldn't abandon her bike here for some unexplained reason. Her bag wasn't waterproof either. She brushed off the bench and sat down too. Raku tried to hide a smile. He rubbed the back of his neck and looked all around the inside of the bus stop, his gaze strained to every nook and cranny before finally landing on Nelli.
So, what have you been up to lately?
Nothing much. Working on my thesis.
Sure. Talk about your thesis. Why?
Been spending most of my time in lab. The results are disappointing so far.
Huh? Raku was in completely a different department. He had no way of knowing if she was lying. Well, are you lying? Why would you lie about the thesis?
Disappointing how?
Excellent. Nelli wanted to curse. Normally she would have invited questions about academics, since school was half of her personality, but this really wasn't the time for it.
Too much variation in the results to make any conclusions. Maybe it's my technique, or the experimental design.
She's saying all this and my brain's like, what? He thumbed his chin.
Well, you're brilliant and you work harder than anyone, so I know you'll work it out.
Oh, look at him. See, he does it too. She was encouraging him in one of the routes we did. And now he's doing the same. They have such good chemistry. Nelli tried to smile, but her mouth just tightened. She appreciated Raku's optimism, but the issue at hand wasn't easy to solve. What issue, Nelli? What's your problem, Nelli?
Hey.
He looked her up and down, frowning, scrutinizing the mud on her leggings and raincoat. Yeah, how did she get the mud on there? Because it didn't turn into mud. It was already mud on her, which I didn't notice until now. So she already had mud on her, but why was it wet? Where was Nelli for it to be wet? He even said there was no rain. So how did she get wet? What was she doing? Nelli shrunk under his attentive appraisal.
You're hurt.
Huh?
She looked down. As she sat on the bench, the raincoat was pulled up, revealing her knees. Holes had been ripped in both her leggings, exposing the skin underneath. One ear had small red patches where it had been rubbed raw against the ground. The other had been completely skinned, blood ran down it in dark crimson rivulets, staining her leggings a muddy purple. Nelli blinked. Why hadn't she felt anything? Was it the cold? Or adrenaline? Raku kneeled by her knees and rummaged through his inner jacket pocket, fishing out a white handkerchief. Now, but here makes complete sense, his behaviour even more so. But also, look, he gets to, return the favour. If he indeed was the spider from the story that he said, look at him helping Nelli with her leg. He's literally tending to her leg the same way she took care of him. How sweet. He wiped the blood that was trickling down her leg before diverting his attention to the wound. He dabbed at it, carefully wiping the exposed flesh. Her ex-boyfriend had unfortunately spent all of his skill points on academic smarts, coding skills, and gaming prowess, which is pretty amazing. He was sorely lacking in most of the life's necessity abilities. There was always a 50% chance that his toast would emerge completely charged, and I told you that is one battle that barely anybody sometimes survives. The toaster has a mind of its own. He kept his papers and haphazardly organised piles on the floor. Somehow he even managed to sew an entire shirt sleeve shut while attempting to reattach a button. The button was sadly not attached, which again is quite charming and cute. But he was always meticulous. No matter how small the task, Raku would expend 120,000%. I'm going to say that amount because he pretty much just puts all his effort in. He would fuss for an hour while reducing cream sauce to perfect consistency. Well done to him. When he did your laundry, he carefully smoothed out every wrinkle, which also, makes me think that he actually was probably in a family. This is set in Japan, right? So he's probably from one of those families that are like very strict in their ways, that he needs to do everything perfect, or probably like the higher up of the family would be coming right down on him. Like, don't you disappoint me, my child. Get every wrinkle out of that shirt. That's what I'm half expecting. I'm expecting he's like got a very strict like parent, or most likely mother maybe, or something, kind of like some parental figure who's just very, very strict, or setting their ways, and wants him to do everything perfect. Probably one of those parents that want him to be like a doctor or something in their life. But I don't know. What would your parent want you to be if you were possibly a spider? I assume that would technically mean that his family's a spider too. Then again, I don't know what kind of spider he is. When she went out of town and asked him to take care of her cat, he shared a spreadsheet with her detailing every aspect of the pet's care. As she watched him painstakingly try to remove every speck of dirt from his scraped knee, those little memories flooded through Nelli's head, refusing to leave no matter how hard she tried to push them away. Her mind was foggy and her heart tightened.
Does it hurt? Unfortunately, all I have is this. Shoot, I wish we were at home. This needs to be cleaned with ethanol. Does that hurt? Tell me if it hurts.
He must feel so bad that he couldn't protect Nelli from hurting herself.
I'm fine.
Nelli bit her lip. Her knee didn't hurt, but the sight did. Raku kneeling next to her, worrying and tending to her scrapes and bruises. How dare he? If they had broken up, she should have been a stranger to him. Less than a stranger. Raku tied the handkerchief around the scrape, making sure that it wasn't too tight.
How's that? Okay?
It's fine.
Stop being so freaking feisty. She swallowed, the lump in her throat bobbing in place, refusing to disappear.
Somehow the blood got on the outside of your coat, too. Not a lot, though.
I know. Suspicious, isn't it, Nelli? How did the blood get outside your coat? Where did the mud come from, Nelli? You landed on concrete. And it was already wet. The road wasn't wet till the rain came now. So where were you, Nelli? So sussy. He scrubbed a few spots on the bottom of the raincoat. He gave her coat one last swipe with the handkerchief before getting up and returning to his seat.
I'm sorry. I didn't notice you were hurt.
It's fine. She didn't notice either. She probably didn't even notice someone's attempt on her life either with the bike chain.
I said it's okay.
They stewed in silence for around 10 minutes, but as they saw their Nelli could tell that Raku was growing increasingly tense. His leg was bouncing up and down as he chewed on his lip. Finally, he turned towards her.
Nelli, can we talk?
Oh dear. Here it was. He wanted to talk. Of course he did. They'd dated for almost a year and a half. See, and during the year and a half, that's when Sana disappeared. Sana disappeared for like 3 months. And then a week or so, she was found later. And then apparently, even though they were discussing plans to move in together, she suddenly broke up with him out of the blue. She'd apparently been avoiding him for a week. So I think it's totally has something to do with Sana. I really think it's something to do with Sana. Sana is the catalyst of whatever all this is about. They had even discussed their future plans together. If Rick had sent her a text out of the blue saying, "I'm breaking up with you," then she would have had questions too. She didn't want to talk or explain, which is why she had avoided him for 2 weeks after sending the text. Wow, you guys don't live that far from each other, right? I'm assuming since he was here between point A and B and it took you like 20 or 30 minutes to get back home, at least according to like the first ending or something like that, right? how did you manage to avoid him so well? I know you guys didn't have like the same class and everything, so that would make sense. But how did you manage to avoid him otherwise? She had eluded him very successfully until this very moment, that is. Or at least she thinks so. How does she know there wasn't a little spider with ice eyes literally just creeping in the corner somewhere, spying on her in the house? Okay, now I just made him sound creepy. I didn't mean to do that. You know, just keeping an eye on her.
Was it something I did? Did I do something wrong?
No, you didn't. I mean, sure, you may have had the possibility of maybe you were a spider the whole time. But who wouldn't hide something like that if you are indeed a spider? How exactly would you tell Nelli that? I don't know. We are graduating soon?
We're graduating soon. I'll go to veterinary school. He'll probably get a job on the other side of the country.
Did you hear the snap there? Good lord, what a snap. Also, I'd hate to be a veterinarian, having the animals' lives like in your hands and everything. I couldn't cope, especially, you know, having to do like the thing that needs to be done. I knew when I was little I wanted to be a veterinarian, but then when I realised what veterinarians also have to do, couldn't do it. I'm far too attached to animals.
Long-distance relationships rarely work. How many years are we going to text and video chat? It's unrealistic.
Nelli, you say that now, yet after the last ending, when we saw how fast this boy can move, I don't think that's going to be a problem anymore. I mean, literally could take him just a blink or two and he'd be at your place. I mean, the possibilities are now endless of how fast this one is. So I don't think him being across the other side of the world is going to be a problem. I'm pretty sure you'll still find some way to come crawling back into your life. Quite literally. I mean, one day you'll just wake up and there'll be a spider with icy blue eyes just in the corner of your room just looking at you and be like, I wonder how Raku's doing. I know where that's Raku.
You don't know that it won't work. I can find something where I can work remotely. If not, then we can still at least try. If you're willing, then I'm willing.
Oh, that's so freaking sweet, though. He's very sweet. I absolutely adore him.
Any relationship takes effort. A long-distance one just takes a little more effort, that's all.
And a relationship with him probably takes even more effort, especially when you realise what he truly is. Which probably is why she had like a shock. I mean, it could have been worse. It could have been facehugger. I'm just saying, there are worse things he could have been.
We were talking about moving in together a month ago. I don't understand how your feelings change so quickly.
Well, let's see. Her best friend died so suddenly, and then only for them to discover her after 3 months of missing, holding on to hope she's going to be alive, only to discover that apparently she fell down a cliff and was down there the whole entire time. They found her like a week later, mangled. I mean, it's going to upset a few people, you know, and she didn't really cope well. So, yeah. It was a lot. It makes sense. And then you've got Ji-hoon, who apparently doesn't give a toss. What a creepy little gremlin. No, that's an insult to gremlins. Forgive me, Gizmo. I apologize. I find you adorable. I'm so sorry, Gizmo. You didn't deserve that one.
They just did.
No, they didn't. She looked down and twisted her fingers together. She hesitated to say anything further. It felt like she was standing at the edge of a precipice, and a single word would send her tumbling into the abyss. Don't worry, I'm sure he'll, you know, do a Spider-Man. Just whoop, make a web net there. He'll catch you before you fall.
Is it because of what I did to Ji-hoon? Because I didn't apologize?
You don't need to apologize to that waste of space. Don't say anything. It's fine. He grunted his teeth.
You know why I did it. You heard all those things he was saying about Sana. Insisting that she was addicted to social media, saying she probably fell because she was trying to take a cute selfie with the sunrise.
I really think Ji-hoon killed her. I've got the strangest suspicion he might have killed her.
could he say that? About his own girlfriend. He deserved more than one punch.
Yeah, because if it's his girlfriend, he's supposed to, be broken up. He's supposed to, be like, this is my son, he loves her, right? The way he's behaving doesn't sound like he does. It sounds like she was just there as a convenience, just to look pretty. Nelli's mouth tightened. Here we go. She wanted to protest, to say that wasn't it. In reality, Raku's outburst had been gratifying. At the memorial, she stands trying to ignore Ji-hoon's prattling, so that she could focus on honoring Sana. The seconds felt like grueling hours. She wanted to sew Ji-hoon's mouth shut, and maybe she did. When Raku finally hit him, it felt as if Raku had taken all of Nelli's bubbling indignation and anger and shoved it in Ji-hoon's face, because he could probably see it. It was making Nelli uncomfortable. It was upsetting Nelli. This was her best friend. This was someone she confided in. This is someone that she literally shared an apartment with. He got to know her and probably also cared about her too. But also because it really hurt Nelli. It affected Nelli in a negative way. So yeah, of course he's gonna pummel the poop out of this one. It's not that. Is it really not that? I haven't actually. Have I said that to him? It's not that.
It's not that.
That's not why she did any of this.
Then why? When I asked for your number the first time, I didn't really think you'd give it to me.
Oh.
After all, you're you, and I'm me. I didn't think I had a shot with you.
Now that I know more about you, I can see why you thought that.
But I had to ask. I would have cursed myself if I didn't even try.
Well done.
And you gave it to me. And then you said yes when I asked you out for lunch. And then you kept saying yes.
Aww.
I was so happy. But I also thought that maybe you just viewed me as your gaming friend. So I asked, is this a date? And then you laughed and said, of course it's a date. At that moment, I felt this pang in my chest.
Aww. He was so unsure the whole entire time that when she finally confirmed it for him, he's like, I actually have a girlfriend. Because he didn't think, he was so unsure if they were even dating. That is so freaking cute. But I can't hate this character. I just can't bring myself to. So far, he has done nothing to make, okay, maybe a little bit in the ending of 2, but to be fair, technically, it was Nelli's own fault / me for not telling him the truth. And then he took the script. He just wanted to make sure that, that she stayed safe while getting rid of everything else that could be a distraction. I may have pushed him a little bit too far. Because he was under the impression no matter what he did, he wasn't going to get to keep Nelli, and he couldn't cope with that fact, so he kind of had a little moment. But I'm sure we can forgive him for that, right?
I realized something. All of the messy, revolting things that had happened up until that point. The vile vulgarity of my own existence. It was because I had already spent all the luck I had in this lifetime to meet you.
The vile vulgarity of my own existence. Nelli should have clicked that there was something odd about that, because that's not how a person normally talks about themselves. He literally finds himself disgusting. And now that we know more about him, I'm starting to see why he thinks that. But also, who made him think that his own existence was an eyesore? Was that something that his family did? Because I'm starting to really worry about this part of his mindset by here. Because that would technically mean... Then again, some spiders go... Oh dear. I hope it's not what I think it is.
I had never met anyone like you before. Even though life hasn't been kind to you, you always find room in your heart to be kind to others. People, plants, animals.
No, I really do think Nelli and him met as children.
even something as little and creepy and disgusting as an insect.
Yeah, but the thing is, technically, spiders / arachnids are technically don't count as insects. They are arachnids. They are not a part of the insect thing, because insects have 6 legs and spiders have 8. Believe what you will, but according to scientists, that's how it works. You guys are not insects. So, the fact that he considers himself as an insect is very perplexing to me, because he technically isn't one. If he is indeed a spider, then technically he's not. And if he was a bigger one, you know, as long as he's got 8 legs, then technically that means he is not an insect. Insects have 6. But I guess it would make sense why he would say insect here instead of just flat out saying arachnid. Because otherwise, Nelli might question why he specifically chose to say arachnid instead of saying insect or bug. So I will let it go for now.
I still remember when you found a spider in your apartment. Not a small one either. It was perched on the wall above your bed, barely holding on with 3 broken legs.
And if that was indeed you, what on the earth happened to you for you to have like 3 broken legs? What happened? Who broke your legs? Because, ow! That has gotta hurt!
You reached out and caught it in your hands. It would have been so easy to squish it right then and there.
You know, I just realized he said it's having 3 broken legs. I was under the impression it only had 3 legs. No. This whole entire time he said that the spider had 3 broken legs. And if Nelli was a child, there really wasn't much she could do, because spiders are small. They're really tiny. And he said it wasn't like a small one, it was a big one, so she could hold it in her hands. So, did he only have 3 legs, or was his legs just broken? Above your bed, holding on with 3 broken legs. So that doesn't confirm if it had any more legs, or if it only had 3. All we know is that 3 were broken.
But you didn't. You opened the window and let it go.
Oh, that's sweet.
At that moment, I knew you were special. Really special.
I really do think that the spider had to have been him, though, in that situation. That must have been him when he was a child. And Nelli showed him kindness that he's never experienced in his life. So he's grown quite fond of her.
I don't remember that at all. Did I do that?
He might have just, ended up meeting back up with her when she was older and he recognized her. And then they clicked. Riku laughed.
You did. I guess you wouldn't remember. It was such a small thing. But I remembered.
But I remembered. It's such a big statement as well. Because the way he's speaking about it is as if he's reliving it through his eyes. So I'm going to say right now, I think he really was that spider. He must have been the spider that Nelli helped, which would then explain the webbing. And probably the weirdness going on in ending 1, where she just ran away because something happened with his face. Raku turned towards Nelli and slowly extended his arms around her. She slipped slightly, but she didn't push him away.
You know how you go through life, and you meet all these different people, but none of them really know you.
In your case, nobody knows you that well.
You'll meet, and you'll talk about what movie just came out, or what assignment is due next in class, or what food they're serving in the cafeteria. But you can never tell them about the real you. It's like you rush together for a second, and then the next, you're each going your separate ways. And when you stop taking classes together, or you move away, you never see those people again. And your life isn't any different in the end, because they didn't really know you. But you're different, Nelli. You know me.
To an extent.
In some ways, you know me better than my closest friends, and even my family. You know things about me that I can never tell anyone else. And if I couldn't see you anymore, then my life would be different. There would be a big, gaping hole where you used to be. Losing you terrifies me. I'm afraid that no one else would be able to know me the way you do. That I won't be able to open up to anyone else the way I opened up to you. And I don't want anyone else to know me the way you do, because they wouldn't be you.
I didn't know you felt that way about me.
And how long was she dating him? Yeah. I'm just gonna put that as a reminder again. She was dating him for a long time, and apparently she didn't realize. And Nelli didn't resist. Raku pulled her tighter, whispering in her ear.
I don't want to break up.
I know, but she's steadfast in her ways.
I love you, Nelli. I never want to love anyone but you. You don't feel the same? Not at all?
Ugh. Nelli stayed silent, but she unconsciously leaned into Raku's hold, meaning he can see right through all of this. He knows how she really feels. When her friends talked about their childhood, Nelli couldn't relate. When they reminisced, they brought up their beloved childhood cartoons, their favorite vacations, and their cherished family pets. Nelli didn't have memories of any of those things. Instead, all her memories were of the constant yelling, the embarrassment when she couldn't afford lunch, the fear as she huddled under the covers, never at home, even in her own home, the relief when her father went out one day and never returned. What actually happened to that guy? Sometimes she talked to Sana, and Sana tried her best. She listened and nodded and said, I understand completely. But that was a lie. There was simply some things that Nelli's best friend couldn't understand. All Sana could offer was some comforting words. That's rough, that's horrible, I can't believe that happened. As if Nelli's favorite television show had been cancelled. Or she cracked her phone screen or gotten a D on her last exam. It wasn't Sana's fault, but it didn't make Nelli feel any better. Eventually, Nelli stopped talking about herself altogether. That changed when she met Raku. It wasn't something dramatic encounter. They were standing in line at the library, both waiting to check out a couple of books. Raku noticed a keychain hanging from her backpack, a small white and blue pixel art spaceship from Space Blasters. When they reached the front of the line and Nelli handed the librarian her books, they were still excitedly chatting about their favorite retro games. She promised to lend Raku one of her cartridges and they exchanged contacts. Nelli didn't talk about herself at first. They talked, of course, but it was usually about their shared hobbies. When they liked different gens and played in different ways. Raku fancied punishing difficulties and expansive exploration, while Nelli preferred methodically leveling her character to optimize strategy. They still had plenty in common. When the conversation veered too personal, Nelli drove it back into the safety of benign small talk. Yet Raku had a way of methodically tearing down her carefully constructed barriers. Just knock it down with a wrecking ball. As he lounged on his bed, full and drowsy from eating too much cheap pizza, the words started slipping out of her mouth one by one. For Nelli, Raku was different. When he listened to her darkest thoughts, he didn't look at her with pity, skepticism, disgust, or apathy. He looked at her with an understanding as if he'd been with her every step of the way. He probably was. She just bloody can't remember. How do I know she actually put the spider outside? What if she actually kept the spider and she took care of him? That would explain then why he's so attached to her. Raku was special. That's exactly why they had to break up. She couldn't involve him in her life or her problems. She had to end it. Yeah, but I still don't know what you did, woman. I have, ideas, but I don't know if I'm right. Nelli wormed her hands between their bodies and pushed Raku away forcefully. Okay, so what do I want to do here? Be kind. Okay, be kind. Let's be gentle with him.
I understand how you feel, but you'll find someone else. There are plenty of people way better for you than me. You just haven't met them yet. You didn't do anything wrong. I'm not ready for this kind of relationship right now.
She's lying!
So that's it? It's over? Just like that?
I'm so sorry. Nelli bit her lip. Part of her heart wanted to apologize, but she swallowed the urge.
It's over.
It's over, isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't it over?
It's over. It's over.
Every time he repeated himself, his face darkened.
Even though I've loved you for years.
I'm sorry.
Even though I loved you this much.
He lowered his head, dragging a hand through his hair as he turned away from her. He returned to the other side of the bus stop, leaning one hand heavily against the wall as raindrops dampened his worn-out orange sneakers. Nelli twisted her hands together. Her ex-boyfriend wasn't the most emotive person. When he was amused, he expressed it through soft chuckles, not laughter. On more than one occasion, she only noticed that he was angry because he came home and pulled out a first-player shooter to play. He'd only cried in front of her on one occasion. Nelli was lying on his chest playing with his earrings when Raku told her about his family, about the abuse and the inhuman expectations. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, he is from an abusive home too. She could tell he was deliberately holding back the darker details, but expression told her enough. She nuzzled against his neck, kissing his cheek and whispering, "You don't have to be who they want you to be. I love you no matter who you are." When he heard that, the tears started to flow. Well, she better love him for who you are rather than what he is. I'm just going to say that much right now. She better stay faithful and true to those freaking words if he is like a freaking giant massive spider. The tears started to flow. They gushed down his cheek unrestrained, and he pulled her in closer and repeated "thank you" over and over. Seeing her ex-boyfriend now strongly reminding Nelli of that evening. Riku's reaction squeezed her heart painfully, but she couldn't worry about him right now. She had bigger problems at hand. He straightened. When he stood in front of her again, there was something different about his expression, something colder, more resolute, as if he had made some sort of decision during his morose period of introspection.
I heard about you and Ji-hoon. I've seen you two around.
Oh dear. Prickles run up Nelli's spine.
We're in the same department, in a lot of the same classes. It would be stranger if we didn't spend any time together. I've been helping him with his thesis, too.
That still bothers me. Why was she helping the sleaze bag?
People have been talking, saying that you took advantage of your best friend's death to cozy up to her rich boyfriend. They said that you two spent a lot of time together, that you went to his house on Friday.
Maybe Friday would stand more significant if I knew what day it was. It's today, Saturday.
At first, I was devastated. I thought, of course she chose him over me. He's tall, handsome, rich, athletic.
Oh shit, we have another ending. What's this one? He's never done this before. He's never had this dialogue. I normally get a different option. What is happening? Uh-oh.
But then, I thought about it some more. After all, Ji-hoon isn't perfect. We both listen to Sana. We both know how many of his faults that she forgave. His ego, his infidelity.
He really does not like him.
His temper.
Oh god.
You're smart. Why would you choose him? And there was something else. I thought, the Nelli that I love isn't cruel. She's kind. She wouldn't break up with someone over text just so she could chase another guy.
Uh-oh.
I wondered, why would she do that then? Why would she break up with me so cruelly? Cut me off without another word.
Why is he smiling like that? Oh no. Is he finally gonna just drop the act and show me what he is?
Maybe it was because she was planning something. Something where she didn't want anyone else to get involved.
Oh my god, was she planning murder?
Something bad.
Raku, did she kill him?
Sana's death was always a little strange, wasn't it?
Oh,
She was the most outdoorsy out of all of us. She went hiking and camping all the time. She visited these woods constantly.
I knew it! I knew it was murder! Wait, I shouldn't be so excited. There's somebody dead. Wait, so Ji-hoon? Are you trying to imply Ji-hoon did it? I knew it was him. His behavior screams murderer. But wait, does that technically mean Nelli killed Ji-hoon, or she tried to blackmail him? Or did she go there to confront him to confess?
She was always prepared. She never went anywhere without her hiking boots. So why was she found wearing a pair of wedge heels?
That means she wasn't. She was probably inside a house. She was probably at Ji-hoon's place, and something happened. They got into confrontation maybe, and he pushed her down the stairs. That's the only way I could think that you get mangled, right? The only reason why I think that is because of corpse party, because of the nurse and that one. She fell down the stairs and she got mangled. That's my best guess.
And she fell off a cliff trying to take a selfie? That Sana? The Sana that only uploaded pictures of food and blurry photos of your cat?
Wow, she really wasn't good at taking photos. Then again, cats do not stay still, to be fair. But also proves he didn't care, because otherwise he would know that she only uploads photos of food and blurry photos of the cat. Reiko's eyes glimmered.
Do you remember when Sana fractured her ankle? She couldn't walk properly for weeks. She said that she accidentally fell down the stairs when she and Ji-hoon were fighting.
She must have been really scared of him then, if she wouldn't even admit that he did it.
I wondered if that happened often. Sana accidentally tumbling down the stairs during fights with her boyfriend.
Why were they even fighting the stairs in the first place? Already is asking for trouble. So what, this time they got into an argument and what, she accidentally fell back, but it's not that he then hit it? If it was an accident, he should have just said it was an accident. Unless he's got a lot more to lose if he admits that it was. Unless he purposely pushed her down the stairs this time.
Maybe on the night of her disappearance, she accidentally fell again. But this time, it wasn't down the stairs. It was over the railing.
The railing? Good God, this went up. Wait, did you see it happen?
You've seen the stairs in the Kong family mansion. If you dropped head first over the railing onto that pristine marble floor, you'd never wake up again.
Marble? Oh! Oh! That's a horrible... well, at least it was instant, I hope.
Ji-hoon's standing over the body. He's the Kong family prince. He can't be involved in something like this. His life would be ruined.
Ugh.
So he takes her body to a cliff near the house and drops her off it. She didn't die at his mansion. She died while hiking by herself. Too easy.
Were you out in the woods and you saw this happen, or are you just speculating? Also, really? He dropped her over the cliff near the house? Really? Then why did she disappear? So what are you saying here? Sana was already dead then. That night she fell. Apparently accidental. Not really. And then he just went and dropped her body off. And then she wasn't found, like 3 months of missing, and she was found a week later. So she was down the entire time. They didn't think of looking around the entire perimeter of, like, the house where the boyfriend lived. Surely Nelli or Raku would have told the police about this odd behaviour, the so-called accidentally falling on Sunny and hurting her leg thing. Her ankle thing. Surely, and then they would have automatically thought it was the boyfriend. Unless they got paid off to not go looking nearby. Somebody didn't do their job here. Or they didn't even think that she went to the mansion. But you think the police would at least think, you know what, just in case, let's have a look around this area. Then again, if it's a rich family, I guess, you could just pay them off to not get nosy. But still.
After that, all he had to do was ask a few of his friends to cover for him. They're too eager to lie to suck up to the Kong heir. But there was one snag in his plans.
Okay, now I really do think maybe he did try to attempt to kill Nelli now.
Sana's best friend, who couldn't stop crying for over a month after she was found, who was too familiar with the kind of guy Ji-hoon really was, who knew where Sana was the night she disappeared, because they were roommates who texted each other about everything.
Wow, he knows so much. Which means Ji-hoon would have had to have gotten rid of Nelli, because Nelli wouldn't have kept quiet.
The best friend was suspicious. She wanted to know the truth. So she broke up with her poor boyfriend and got close to Ji-hoon instead.
But is Ji-hoon stupid enough to tell Nelli?
It wouldn't have been difficult to get an invite to his house. Maybe Ji-hoon even offered. Why don't you come pick up Sana's belongings? She left some things at my place.
So he might have tried to kill Nelli, maybe. Just in case. Unless he really didn't think Nelli knew nothing.
And then something unexpected happened. A plot twist, if you will.
Did Nelli kill him? He leaned a little closer, swiping his eyes over Nelli.
You know, something has been bothering me for a while now.
Oh, are you going to talk about the yellow bag?
Something smells. At first I thought it was your knee, but that's not quite right, is it?
Nelli!
The stench is too strong for that.
He breathed in heavily and exhaled with a content sigh.
What is that odor? A little sweet, slightly metallic.
Nelli, have you got a weapon in the bag, or have you actually been getting rid of... Did she cut him up?
It smells delicious.
Did you dismember him? What the hell, Nelli? That's savage. Oh my god. His glass-like eyes glittered under his stringy blue-tinged bangs, boring holes into the sports bag lying in Nelli's lap.
What's in the bag, Nelli?
Oh shit. He knows! Oh my god, he knows! Run or stab him. Why would you stab him? Do I have to? Do I have to? I don't want to stab him. Do I have to stab him? I don't want to. Why would she stab him? Thing is, I'm going to have to do the stabby option at some point, so I might as well get it out of the way. I am totally against this option. I don't like this. I don't want to hurt him. Wait, would I actually hurt him though if he's a spider? I don't know how exactly his... Yeah, because his vital organs wouldn't be inside his body technically. It would be inside his abdomen. And I don't even know where that is on him, so... Would I actually be killing him? Is she just gonna like stab him and make him go away? Or is she gonna like stabby, stabby, stabby? Fine, we'll do the stabby, stabby out of the way. I'm not happy with it. Oh god, I don't want to. Stabby, stabby. Stab him. He knows everything. He does. Wait, so all that's correct? How can you confirm that everything there is correct? Did Ji-hoon tell you? I need to stop him before he tells him. Nelli, he's not going to tell anyone, stupid. That's the one thing with Raku. He's not going to. All Raku cares about is you, and he'd do anything to protect you. I really don't think he's going to tell, because if he was, he would have done it already. Her mind was blank. She didn't think. She just unzipped her bag and put her hand inside. Raku was still staring at her face, eyes completely unblinking. Nelli flicked her head to the side. Raku followed her gaze, momentarily distracted. Oh! I am so sorry! Nelli, that's a knife. There's no need for that. In his gut! I want to go to my happy place. She took the opportunity to whip the knife from the bag. She tackled him from below, shoving her shoulder into his chest as she buried the weapon in his gut. A choked gurgle emerged from Riku's throat. He tried to grab the knife, but Nelli was faster. She extracted the blade and struck him with her elbow, pinning him against the back of the bus stop. Why am I getting an option to stab him again? I already stabbed him once. Just freaking run. I don't like it. Stop! The weapon easily sunk into his abdomen, his diaphragm fluttering against her hand as it struggled to fight the blade. Why am I getting to stab him multiple times? Can Nelli freaking stop? Nelli, 1 stab is enough. 2 is too much. 3 is just no. As she thrust the knife into his side, it hit something. A rib? She twisted the blade. Angling it downwards until it slid into his flesh completely. Why are we being so graphic? We are doing corpse party. Oh god, why am I gonna stab him again? She plunged the knife in one more time near his heart. Nelli, please, for the love of God, stop stabbing. She pulled the weapon out and took a few steps back. Raku grunted, clutching his blood-stained abdomen with one hand as he pushed off of the back of the bus stop with the other. He only made it a few steps before he collapsed, lying face up on the concrete. His chest quivering in agony as his breath stuttered from his lips. Nelli clenched the knife hilt in her fingers. She had to get rid of him. It was already too late. She had to finish him and make sure he would never be found. But as she stared at his prone body, her vision became blurry and blurry. Raku tried to sit up, but he only managed to lift his head. He looked at his torso with curiosity, prodding his wound with his fingers and examining the blood with interest. He rotated his head, inspecting the puddle forming underneath him on the dark, cracked cement. His face was contorted in pain, but he looked more impressed at the quantity of blood that was coming out of him. Really? He looked up at her, teeth clenched, and his eyes filled with confusion.
Why? I wasn't going to tell anyone. I love you. I just wanted to help.
And he's telling the truth, Nelli! The acidic taste of Bill tugged at the back of Nelli's throat. She turned around. She squeezed her eyes shut and swallowed hard until the urge to vomit receded. She couldn't. Raku gazed at her back. His words were choked and hoarse, accompanied by wet coughs.
It's okay, Nelli. I'll forgive you.
And the worst thing about this is he probably will forgive her. The dam broke. She couldn't stop the tears from flowing. She couldn't look at him anymore. She grabbed the knife, her bike, and her bag and broke into a run down the road. The raindrops pelted her face painfully, but she didn't stop to put her head up. Every time her energy started to wane and her pace slowed, the image of Raku's mutilated form flashed under her eyelids, and she ran faster. What the... The thing is, she didn't finish him off. By the time she made it back to town, it had stopped raining, and the sun was high in the sky, ready to make the trip down. She walked for 20 minutes before she thought to look at herself. Luckily, the rain had washed all the blood away. She was just a girl wearing a blue raincoat, carrying a yellow sports bag, and wheeling a broken bike. The thing is, though, you said you didn't want to get your bag wet. And your bag's soaked now. But also, I'm upset at you. You friggin' stabbed him. As she approached her apartment building, the town was dyed in sunset hues and the sky was beginning to dim. She left her bike in the rack and entered the building. Her life was probably over, but she deserved it. She won't waste time trying to resist. All she wanted to do was go home, lie on the floor, and not have to think anymore. She fumbled the keys out of her pocket. Wait. Okay. The keychain slipped through her fingers. Her hands were trembling, making the mundane task a little too difficult, but eventually she managed to insert a key into the door. She turned the lock, and the lock opened with a familiar click. However, before she could open the door, a hand reached out around her, landing on the handle. What? Oh my god! How did he get there so fast? Okay, so Nelli, remember what I said about the long-distance relationship thing? I don't think you need to worry about it. It seems, he'll be fine. A pale hand with long fingers painted in streaks of brown and red Oh my goodness, I think he might be a little bit mad at you. The hand tightened, fingers whitening. The handle squeaked as it turned.
I wasn't done talking, Nelli.
Welp then. The door opened and Nelli was shoved into a darkened apartment.
Let's continue the conversation, shall we?
Oh boy. How could you do this to me? It's adorable, but I do need to teach you a lesson. Okay, stabbing him is a bad idea. Okay, time to try out. Well then. Okay. That confirmed. Raku does not go down quick, by the way. Okay, so Nelli learned the hard way that stabbing him is not the way to go because he will get back up and, he found it adorable. I mean, I knew he would forgive her at least. I just didn't know if he was going to get back up. But hey, at least we know she didn't hit anything vital because he's still walking and he's a lot more faster. Which technically means Raku can get in anywhere. Oh my goodness. That is... I was like close to tears just hearing her like stabbing him and stuff, and then just to see him like right behind her afterwards. Her face is like, I was about to like grieve over you and stuff, and you're right behind me. What is going on? Because girl, remember in this ending, she hasn't seen his face change, so she doesn't know how he's able to get up and go again. She doesn't know that his face can morph into anything else. The only thing she knows is that apparently he knew what happened, so I was right. Nelli did do something. She apparently dismembered Ji-hoon. I had a funny feeling there was body parts in the bed, but I didn't think it was that. Well, no. I mean, I should have realized that there would have been something. I thought it was like a murder weapon or something. And I was kidding about it being body parts. But it actually was. The fudge. And apparently there was a knife in there. Too. So, there's that. Surely there was other tools in that bag. And if indeed Nelli has tools in that bag for, like, dismembering and everything, that would mean that it was preemptive. That she planned to. Because if you heard what she said there, she was originally planning on getting rid of him and making sure no one found him. So she was meant to continue the job. But she couldn't, like, bring herself to do it because it's Raku and because she did and does love him. She didn't have the heart to do it. It already upsetted her doing what she did. She wasn't thinking straight. She got blinded in that moment. But he still forgave her. And it was the simple fact that even after she turned on him, even after she dumped him, he still wanted to keep on loving her. And it just hurt her so much how sweet he was. But yeah, look at that. He still kept going. Well done, Raku's still alive. Even though technically a normal person would probably be dead by now. Okay, so now for the last ending. Is the last ending probably going to be explained, like, why she did it? I mean, I know why she did it. But was it, like, an accident? Did he go after her? Was it in self-defense? Or did she actually want to kill him? Like, did she want to go for revenge? Or was it, you know, she had to just... Yeah, because in ending 1, it was implied that Nelli has done stuff before to defend herself. So, did Ji-hoon come after her? I'm very curious now. And also, we still haven't seen if he does transform. But at least we definitely know there's something not fully human about him because stabby, 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 and he still keeps on walking. Not to mention he somehow got to the apartment really quickly for someone that's been stabbed like so many times. My goodness. So losing blood is not an issue for him apparently. And he just wants to help her. He wants to protect her. That's it's pretty much the same of this. The first one was like, I will save you, Nelli. This one was, again, he just wanted to help her. Even if she did something bad, he's like, I can help you though. And she thought he was gonna tell people. And that wasn't the case. Okay then, well, let's head off and take a look at that lost ending, shall we? Oh, and hopefully I don't have to stab him again. I really cannot stand like hurting him. But oh my goodness. He definitely got another personality than Sweet Donnie. Oh my goodness. And you heard him. He said that smell was delicious. Does that kind of answer my question that yes, he can and will eat people? I mean, he said it smelled delicious. That was a slight warning flag for me. He said it smelled delicious, so does that mean he eats people? There's a high possibility he does. But at least this confirms that he didn't kill Sana, and he didn't kill Jihoon. But he knew so much anyway. He's extremely intelligent. Was it because he saw this happen, or he got suspicious and somebody else told him, or what? Or he just, put two and two together? I mean, he got really detailed, though, because it caused her to panic, because he seemed to know a lot more. Makes you wonder. I guess we'll have to find out in the next part. So, remember, guys, that if you want to see that last part, 5 likes on this video and I'll get to the next part. 10 likes on the video and I will get it up for you tomorrow. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye. See you guys next time in the next video. Oh my goodness.